The Camerlengo of the Holy Roman Church is an office of the papal household. The Camerlengo is the administrator of the property and revenues of the Holy See. Formerly, his responsibilities included the fiscal administration of the patrimony of St. Peter. His heraldic arms are ornamented with two keys, one gold, one silver, in saltire surmounted by an ombrellino, a canopy or umbrella of alternating red and yellow stripes. These are also the arms of the Holy See during a papal interregnum. History. Until the 11th century, the Archdeacon of the Roman Church was responsible for the administration of the property of the Church, but its numerous ancient privileges and rights had come to make it a frequent hindrance to independent action on the part of the Pope. As a result, when the last Archdeacon Hildebrand was elected to the papacy as Gregory VII in 1073, he suppressed the archdiaconate, and the cardinal entrusted with the supervision of the apostolic camera, i.e., the possessions of the Holy See, became known as the Camerarius. Prior to the 18th century, the Camerlengo enjoyed an income of 10,000 to 12,000 scudi a year out of the apostolic camera. He had jurisdiction over all suits involving the apostolic camera, and could judge separately or in association with the clerics of the apostolic camera. He was not impeded by consistory. He has appellate jurisdiction over suits decided by the masters of the roads. In a narration of the 18th century, the Camerlengo is the chief officer in the apostolic camera, the financial council of the Pope. In his office are the governor of Rome, the treasurer, the auditor, the president, the advocate general, the fiscal procurator, the commissary, and 12 clerks of the chamber. Each clerk of the chamber received around 8,000 scudi a year, representing 10% of the business that passes through his office. The powers and functions of the Camerlengo were diminished considerably in the 19th century. First by the reorganization of the papal government after the election of Pope Pius VII, then by the reorganization of the papal government after the return of Pope Pius IX from exile in 1850, and then by the loss of the Papal States in 1860 and the City of Rome in 1870. The chief beneficiary of these changes was the Cardinal Secretary of State. In the last century, the offices of Secretary of State and Camerlengo were held concurrently by Pietro Gaspari, Eugenio Pacelli, Jean-Marie Villot, and by Tarcisio Bettone. On 24 January 2010, Pope Benedict XVI named Archbishop Santos Abril y Castello, formerly an apostolic nuncio, as vice-chamberlain of the Holy Roman Church, effectively the Camerlengo's assistant, for a period of 3 years. In 2011, Abril y Castello was named Archpriest of the Basilica of St. Mary Major in Rome, and in early 2012, he became a cardinal. On 23 July 2012, Archbishop Pierluigi Celata, then the Secretary of the Pontifical Council for Interreligious Dialogue, was named by Pope Benedict XVI to succeed Abril y Castello as the new Vice Camerlengo. On 20 December 2014, Pope Francis appointed Cardinal Jean-Louis Taurar as Camerlengo, succeeding Cardinal Bettone. Responsibilities. The Camerlengo is responsible for the formal determination of the death of the reigning pope. The traditional procedure abandoned centuries ago was to call his baptismal name after the pope is declared dead. The Camerlengo takes possession of the ring of the fisherman and cuts it with shears in the presence of the cardinals. This act symbolizes the end of the late pope's authority and prevents its use in forging documents. The Camerlengo then notifies the appropriate officers of the Roman Curia and the Dean of the College of Cardinals. He then participates in the preparations for the conclave and the pope's funeral. Until a successor pope can be elected, the Camerlengo serves as Vatican City's acting head of state. He is not, however, currently responsible for the government of the Catholic Church during a sede vacant. That task was placed in the hands of the College of Cardinals by Universi Dominici Gregis. His power is extremely limited. being merely enough to allow church institutions to continue to operate and perform some basic functions without making any definitive decisions or appointments that are normally reserved to other powers delegated by the Pope. Unlike the rest of Roman Curia, the Camerlengo retains his office during the sede vacant and functions as the executive director of the Vatican's operations, answerable to the College of Cardinals. This is primarily to carry out the college's decisions with regard to the funeral of the late pope and the events leading up to the conclave. The only other people who keep their offices during this time are the major penitentiary, the archpriest of St. Peter's Basilica, and the vicars general for Rome and the Vatican city-state. List of Camerlengos. Those who have held the office of Camerlengo are Jordan of S., Susanna, Frantius, Rainierus, Ungor, Bossa Breakspear, Bernard the Templar, Teodino de Aroni, Franco Galfridus Fulcia, Gerardo Alusingoli, Melia Lemaitre, Cincio Savelli, later Pope Honorius III, Riccardo, Ottaviano Conti di Segni, Stefano di Cecchino, Pandolfo Veraclo, Sinibalda, Rinaldo Conti di Segni, later Pope Alexander IV, Giovanni da Ferentino, Martino, Boetius, Niccolo da Anani, Pierre de Roncesvalles, Pierre de Charny, Oddo of Châteauroux, Pietro de Montebruno, Guglielmo di San Lorenzo, Reinaldus Marci, Angelo de Vezzosi, Berardo di Camerino, Niccolo, Tommaso di Ocra, Teodorico Ranieri, Giovanni, Onno Frangia de Chanteloup, Bertrand Desbordis, Onno d'Orc, Gasbert de Vale, Stefano Aldobrandi Cambruti, Onno Albert, Pierre Ducros, Marino Giudice, Marino Bolcana, Corrado Cariacoli, Leonardo de Sulmona, Antonio Corra, François de Conzi, Francesco Condolma, Ludovico Trevisan, Latino Orsini, Guillaume d'Estoutville, Raffaele Riario, Innocenzo Cibo, Francesco Armelini Pantalacida, Medici, Agostino Spinola, Guido Ascanio Sforza di Santa Fiora, Vitellozzo Vitelli, Michele Bonelli, Luigi Cornaro, Filippo Guastaviani, Enrico Catana, Pietro Aldobrandini, Ludovico Ludovici, Ippolito Aldobrandini, Antonio Barberini, Palazzo Palazzi Altieri degli Albertoni, Galeazzo Marescotti, Pro Camerlengo, Giovanni Battista Spinola, Annibale Albani, Silvia Valenti Gonzaga, Girolamo Colonna di Sciarra, Carlo Rezzonico, Romualdo Braschi Wonstai, Giuseppe Maria Doria Pamphili, Pro Camerlengo, Bartolomeo Pacca, Pietro Francesco Galafi, Giacomo Giustiniani, Tommaso Riario Sforza, Lodovico Altieri, Filippo de Angelis, Gioacchino Pecchi, later Pope Leo XIII, Camillo di Pietro, Domenico Consolini, Luigi Origlia di Santo Stefano, Francesco Salesio della Volpe, Pietro Gaspari, Eugenio Pacelli, later Pope Pius XII, Lorenzo Lori, Benedetto Aloisi Mazzella, Jean-Marie Vignot, Paolo Bertoli, Sebastiano Baggio, Eduardo Martinez Samalo, Tarcisio Bettone, Jean-Louis Taura. 2 Camerlengos have been elected Pope, Gioacchino Pecchi in 1878 and Eugenio Pacelli in 1939. 2 others, Cincio Savelli and Rinaldo Conti di Segni, were not Camerlengo at the time of their election to the papacy. Cincio having served from 1188 until 1198 and Rinaldo from 1227 until 1231. In popular culture, Dan Brown's novel Angels and Demons and its film adaptation featured a Camerlengo as a principal character. Each version represented the office inaccurately in different ways.